Welcome back everybody to another episode of the GC Informer. I'm Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula, bringing you some news, and it's not all negative, hooray! We'll start with our nice little positive thing, and if you, like me, have become tired of the constant bickering about Steam and the Epic Games Store, both not being very good clients, but people being adamant about defending them, then I have good news for you, because my favourite Steam alternative, GOG Galaxy, is having some major upgrades done to it that I think you will enjoy. So for those of you who don't know, GOG is a company or a game sort of seller originally started by a subsidiary of CD Projekt Red, who make the Witcher series and Cyberpunk 2077. And they branched out from originally just, selling DRM-free games on their online store. They got a lot of old games working on PC again after a long time of not being able to do that, thanks to Windows updating and the games not liking that. And then they launched their own client, GOG Galaxy, a few years ago now, and it was billed as a really great alternative to Steam because the client is optional. You don't have to download it at all. You can just still buy your games DRM free. But the client was basically a nice way to be able to buy the games in one place and keep them all in one place. And that ethos has come full circle because in the 2.0 update to GOG Galaxy, which is due at some point, we don't know when yet, but you are able to sign up for a closed alpha if you so desire. One of the major features is that it allows you to import your libraries from basically everywhere and have it all in one place. They tried to do this with just Steam a while ago, but it was on a limited selection of titles and didn't always work with everything. But this is apparently going to be basically everything from everywhere, including consoles, weirdly. Don't quite know how they're going to manage that, but it certainly include all of your PC clients, so Steam, Epic Games, Origin, Uplay, Battle.net, I can't think of any others offhand, but you'll be able to import them all into your GOG library, and finally, that ever-fracturing library that we've had over these last few years is going to be able to be put into one place. Now you might say that is just going to be an aesthetic thing. You'll have to launch the other clients to actually launch the games, or they'll just be in there like in a list, but it won't actually do anything. But you would be wrong to think that, because apparently achievements, hours played, all of those kinds of little quality of life details that you expect from something like Steam are going to be carried over to GOG, so you'll be able to actually view them in real time, which is, again, I'm really interested to see how they're going to do this. And apparently you'll be able to launch everything from the GOG client without having to, well, probably at least without having to launch any other clients, which would be a godsend, to be honest. The amount of clients you have to launch for some games nowadays is a little bit ridiculous. Even if you want to play GTA 5, you have to launch Rockstar's Social Club, even if you just want to play it in single player. So that's fun, isn't it? But hopefully we'll see how this goes in terms of that. But anyway, let's carry on with the improvements, which is there's quite an extensive list. Much like Valve's rumoured update to Steam's library system, they will have a fully customizable library with tags and filters, and you'll be able to make little collections of certain types of game, which is a brilliant system. I believe that is exactly what a games library should aim to be. Something that you can format in your own way, much like you do with a physical collection. My physical collection downstairs is formatted exactly how I want it to be. I have a shelf for all the Pokemon main games. I have a shelf for all of the PS2 games, a bit for the PS3 games. It's all segmented exactly how I want it to be, and that is how I want my digital library to be, and hopefully how I'll be able to have it pretty damn soon. One thing that won't be in the 2.0 update but is planned is going to be a bunch of social features. We will start with an activity feed and a leaderboard, which will be implemented immediately, but they're also planning, I'm not part of this, they're also planning cross-platform chat with, so you can use GOGs to chat with someone through Steam or through your PSN account maybe, or something like that, and have every single person on all of your friends list in one place. So it's not just games that they're trying to put into one place, it's everything to do with your gaming life. And I appreciate that I really appreciate the idea of having everything in one place. In addition to that, they're adding the ability so that all your configurations, basically all your customizations, are going to be saved everywhere, so you don't have to keep redoing it if you change computer or if you do something like that. They're also recommitting their pledge to protecting privacy. That's something they've done a lot, including starting with the whole DRM thing, DRM-free games, and they're committing to keeping that as one of their policies, which is one of the best selling points for the GOG client. None of your games come with DRM. They're all DRM free, and they're all not invading your computer, basically. It's not a virus on your system like a lot of things you get on Steam or other clients. Still, other improvements though. Auto updates, they were there anyway, but they're sort of enhancing that a little bit. It can be a bit patchy sometimes, the auto updates. A feature that they're keeping that I quite like is that you'll be able to roll back games to previous updates. If a new update comes through and breaks your game, you'll be able to roll it back to a version that works until an update comes through to fix the breaking of that game, which is a very, very useful feature that nobody else implements that I'm aware of. It's a fantastic idea. We have cloud saves coming. I don't believe they're in GOG Galaxy yet. Cloud saves are going to be coming, which is a lovely thing that we all need in all of our clients all of the time, don't we, guys? Pretty much that, basically. That's everything. That's all of the major improvements. And if you want to experience what they're coming up with sooner rather than later, sign up for their closed alpha. I actually remember signing up for the original closed alpha of GOG Galaxy when it was originally announced, and that store's come quite a long way since it was first launched. I must admit, it's a beautiful client. The two clients I always have open pretty much all the time are Steam and GOG Galaxy. Those are where I buy pretty much all of my PC games, and I've been buying a lot more from GOG lately because of Steam being Steam. So, if you're looking for an alternative to Steam, this is the way to go. I'm not doing this with hyperbole. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is the best alternative to Steam, and they are certainly, with this update, bringing about all of the kinds of things that can make them a big player. Now for something quirky. This is really fucking weird. I saw this just out of the blue yesterday, but I love it. It's something I didn't think I'd like when I first looked at the thing, but it's actually really interesting. It's a thing called the Playdate, and it is a new handheld games console made by the developer Panic, who they published Firewatch, and they're publishing another game later this year, and they've decided, because they're not owned by anyone, they wanted to make a thing. So they made the Playdate, and it's really fucking weird. I'll put a picture up on the screen so that you can see it, but I'll roll off some specs for you. So it's pretty standard hardware. It's got a D-pad, it's got an A and a B button, it's got a 2.7-inch black and white screen with it's a high resolution black and white screen with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, USB-C connectivity, a rechargeable battery, a headphone jack, and a crank on the side. And that is probably not for what you think it's for. If you're interested in the dimensions though, it is apparently 74 by 76 by 79 millimeters. So divide that by 10 for centimeters. That is tiny. In fact, that's smaller than a Game Boy Color, and probably, on par with like a Game Boy Advance SP when you fold it up. It's pretty damn small, but they packed a lot into this by the seams of it. You might think that they're trying to break into this handheld market, but they're really not though. Playdate has Playdate's the thing, Panic's the thing. Panic have stated they're not trying to actually compete with any other people. They just made this because they wanted to, and they hope people enjoy it. But what they're going to be doing with this is very interesting. They have basically decided to launch this thing with maybe one or two little games on it, and they're going to be launching other games as you go along, like as a season, and you should, by the sounds of it, they're launching season 1 of games, which presumably just come with the console. You get the first season's worth of games, but then as time goes along, you might be able to then buy the next season's worth of games. They are aiming for a game every sort of few weeks, and one of the ones they shows off the crank, which is actually a method of control for the game. There's apparently some that use the crank exclusively, some that use it partly with the D-pad, and some that don't use it at all. So it's not an entirely like forced gimmick thing. It is actually used in varying amounts throughout the games, and you're controlling a man who are you getting through a sequence, so you're controlling how fast and slow he goes, and you can rewind him, but the world keeps progressing around him. It looks like a really weird but interesting little thing. I suspect what they're aiming for with this is it's all going to be little micro games, so don't expect any sort of big, RPG style thing on this, but expect a bunch of little just fun games to pass your time with in an afternoon. And to be honest, I was skeptical when I first saw it, but I've been sold on it. I think it's a really novel little idea, and I am honestly on board, and I want to see what they do with it. The Playdate is scheduled to launch in early 2020, I have here, and will cost $150 or about £120, which is, again, a little bit high of a price point. You can get, the PlayStation Classic is much cheaper than that, but then, a bin's much cheaper than that, and that's more useful than the PlayStation Classic. You could also get, like a mini NES or a mini SNES, so it's very much aiming at the people who will buy it because it's a gimmick, I think, but I'm still tempted at that price. I think it's gonna be a fun little thing, and we'll see how it goes. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it? That brings us to the end then of this episode of the GC Informer, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, and share whatever you fancy. Our social links are down in the description, with a link to our Discord where you can join in some chat with us and members of our community, and hopefully not spam people like we've had recently. Fun. Anyway, stay tuned to GameCast though. We have news, reviews, podcasts, lots of great content. Sarah is apparently going to be doing a review of Sonic Team Racing fairly soon. We'll look forward to that. And Sully is planning on doing another one of his restoration videos. I really enjoyed the first 2 that he did. Go and watch those, but he's planning on doing another one. I've seen what he's going to be doing. It looks like it's going to be really interesting. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you soon for something else.